Hot during the Ravens' 5-game winning streak. The reigning MVP has 15 total touchdowns in that span. And on Sunday, he became the only quarterback in NFL history with 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons. The Ravens faced the Titans in Sunday's wildcard game, and Mike Vrabel praised Lamar, saying, quote, "He's an unbelievably dynamic player that poses a lot of problems." Bucky is back with us, but Acho, do we take Lamar Jackson for granted?
Fellas, I don't know if there is a player in the NFL, in NFL history, whom we have taken more for granted, myself included. There's often the phrase used as far as dual threat quarterbacks, but we usually lying. Usually one is really good at one thing and not so good at the other, really good at the other thing and not so good at one. But Lamar Jackson, he embodies and exemplifies that word, dual threat. 76 touchdowns over the last 2 years. But really, my mind was blown when I saw this, so I'm going to give it to you just like it. There have only been 5 rushers to rush for 1,000 yards this season and last season. Only 5. Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, and Lamar Jackson. So wait a second.
Wait a minute.
You telling me Lamar Jackson is a top 5 running back in the NFL? Okay, but peep this, fellas, because it don't stop there. Only 5 quarterbacks have thrown for 62 or more touchdowns the last 2 years combined. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Lamar Jackson. So you telling me Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL while simultaneously being a top 5 running back in the NFL. He exemplifies the word dual threat. How you do both so well at the same time? I'm going to give it to you like this in movie form, and then I'm going to get off my soapbox. One of my favorite movies the last couple years called A Star is Born. I don't know if y'all saw it. Y'all need to. Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper. Great, phenomenal movie. They have a song called Shallow. Don't ask me, but I can't play it on the piano. What's crazy about this movie, Selling Bucky, is very simple.
What?
They won an Oscar for the movie, but then they also won a Grammy for the same movie, for the performance in the movie. So while simultaneously being a phenomenal movie, they also have the phenomenal singing performance in it. We take Lamar Jackson for granted, and I don't know if we've ever taken an athlete, at least not a football player, more for granted.
I'm so happy that you finally came over to this side. I'm so happy, overjoyed. Haven't felt this good, Bucky, since my 4th kid was born. Like, finally, Acho is not fighting me. I hated the atmospheric pressure, the resistance I had to get for this guy to realize this is the dude. Forget, what is it, A Star Was Born?
A Star Was Born.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. You know what? Who else won an Oscar and a Grammy? The Lion King. Guess what? The Lion King's better than the damn Star Was Born. And guess who we gonna talk about right now? The Ravens King right here, Lamar Jackson. God, he's making history before our eyes. But you know what we like to say? He can't throw. It doesn't look cute. It doesn't look pretty. Sean Marion couldn't shoot. Actually, he could make shots, but it just didn't look cute. It just didn't look pretty. And it's funny how this is all playing out. I have stats on nuggets, but let's talk about the story of this. I know why people don't respect Lamar Jackson fully. I know why people look at him and make him second guess himself and his abilities and his talents and his exploits we see every week. It's because you can't get a second chance to make a first impression. And the first impression of Lamar Jackson went like this to me, and I'm sure this is how your experience was. There's a quarterback at Louisville who's a running quarterback. That doesn't spark much interest until you watched him play. And then you say, goodness, Michael Vick 2.0. And then you start to watch him throw. And then you're trying to figure out, where is this going? Is this going to translate to the NFL? He wins in Heisman. Then he comes back the next year, has pretty much the same stats, but they lose more games. He doesn't win the Heisman. All of a sudden, you're still trying to figure out the translation of him to the pro game. And then the great Bill Polian puts the cherry on top of what you were trying to battle in your understanding of him and says, I think he needs to switch positions. Now, in this moment, there's 2 choices for people. Either one, you live a confirmation bias life of like, yep, every time I see a bad throw, I told you he wasn't a quarterback. Or you're pleasantly surprised because someone told you that you respected Bill Polian, that he can't play it, but Bill Polian was just wrong. Bill Polian has admitted that he was wrong. But because of that first impression, that introduction to Lamar Jackson, nothing he does will ever satisfy you. Acho, it's not just him. There's other guys. Steph Curry comes to mind right now because Steph Curry's first impression was at Davidson. And we were like, Davidson? A guy could shoot at Davidson? What does that mean to the pro level? Then we saw him at the pro level. Injury after injury. Those ankles couldn't get right. And we saw he could shoot, but we didn't know. And all of a sudden, we're just sitting there like, I don't think Steph Curry can do it all. Steph Curry, 3-time champion, 2-time MVP, is still this week having to shoot 62 points worth of basketball just to get the naysayers off his back. That's what Lamar Jackson is going through right now, the same kind of trajectory. You guys need to get your senses in order because you guys are missing greatness.
Hey, Acho, thanks for coming over, man. We appreciate you finally coming over. After all those L's, we appreciate you coming over to the right side. I appreciate it. And since we're out here talking about musical references and who's winning Grammys and Oscars and all that, I guess I should throw out 3 6 Mafia and talk about it's hard out there for a pimp. And that's what I feel like when it comes to Lamar Jackson. It's hard out there for him because he is doing it in an unorthodox manner. We haven't seen quarterbacks that typically operate like this. You talked about back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and then the number of touchdown passes that he's been able to amass. And I think it's really this. The Baltimore Ravens have rushed for over 100 yards in 39 straight games. Lamar Jackson's been a starter for 37 games. And so when you think about his ability to really impact this team because of his dynamic playmaking ability, back-to-back years, they've led the league in rushing yards per game. And I know we're not conditioned to think about the quarterback being someone who helps the running game, but that's exactly what Lamar Jackson has done. John Harbaugh had talked about this team wanting to be the army of the National Football League, meaning a triple option team that bludgeons people. Last week, we saw them run for 400 yards. As fellow defenders, you know, when someone runs for 400 yards on you, that is the most personal sign of disrespect that you can ever have. And so to think about how far he's come, yes, he has to make strides and show that he can win a playoff game, but Lamar Jackson is great, and he needs to be celebrated as one of the best young quarterbacks in the game.
Now, we do now have to go there because we've all sang his praises. Y'all didn't see us, but we was on camera holding hands, singing Kumbaya while we were talking. So let's go where Bucky went. You got to be real. At this point, Lamar, you got to win a playoff game because when people are praying for your downfall, if you will, when people are waiting to see you fail, then you cannot give them a reason. And Lamar loses in the playoffs 2 years ago. Marcellus, I think that was to your Chargers. Then Lamar loses in the playoffs last year to them Titans. Now you have a rematch against the Titans. Again, I do not create the news. I just report it. Lamar's last 5 big games, he really ain't shown up. You saw him against the Chiefs this year, the Titans this year, the Titans last year, the Steelers this year when he played when he was healthy. He hasn't really shown up and done what he needs to do. So at this point, we can all sit here and we can scream from the mountaintops how good Lamar Jackson is. But he's got to silence the naysayers in the playoffs in this rematch again against these Titans. Because if you lay an egg when it matters most, all the regular season accolades and all the regular season statistics, they will fall flat, or eventually they're just going to fall on deaf ears.
Oh, so he has to win a playoff game right now. That's where you're going. I thought you were a historian of the